From Craig Rolson in Europe, David Gerber in Brazil, and our editor-in-chief and publisher, Don Oshman, it's time for this week's Sunday Night Week in Review.
Good evening. My name is Don Oshman, editor-in-chief of HideNet Publications, and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Night Week in Review. It's Sunday night, May 4th, 2014. I'm in our headquarters in Scottsdale, Arizona, where it's hitting 100 degrees now as we get into the warm summer weather. In Europe, our editor Craig Rolson reports that weakness prevails in the European market, the ambiance, if you will, the atmosphere is weakness. And this does not bode well for those who wish to sell hides. Tanners are generally hesitant to buy. Of course, some tanners need to be buying all the time, but it's not easy to make sales now. The northern Chinese closings have impacted the cow market in Europe, and that's really kind of the trigger that brought some prices down. And the cow market is under some duress in Europe because of their Chinese customers, or lack of Chinese customers. Not every European cow goes to China, and not every European cow that goes to China does go to northern China. But it's, as they say, it ain't what it was, and they're having a tough time. Other news in Europe this week, as Craig explores this in detail, that the Clariant stall sale was concluded this last week. That's all over now, and bodes well, we hope, for all involved. The bull market, used for automotive upholstery, does not have the weakness that the cow market does because their primary market is to European automotive leather seating manufacturers, but it's a little bit softer around the edges, Craig writes. Also, the sheep-lamb skin prices have been down due to the Russian problem, which was a big market, and the Chinese bell-mongering industry is about finished. It's hard to get anything done there. So where are they going to take all these sheep and lamb skins? Another big problem because people relied on China, just like it's the beam house for cattle hides. If that beam house goes away, where are you going to take your hides? In North America this week, prices were typically lower, between $1 and $2 a piece, depending on selection. There's a very good report from the United States Hide Skin Leather President Steve Sothmann on cattle supplies going forward, and the grain issues on various selections in America. And you can have a copy of this report, which we think is very, very interesting, by sending an email to info@hidenet.com, I-N-F-O, info@hidenet.com, if you're a subscriber. This is for subscribers only, including trials. So if you're not a subscriber and you want to see it, get a trial and see how wonderful HideNet is. There's also a report how Wolverine, Deckers increased their quarterly profits. Coach, however, one of the biggest American brands in ladies' handbags and other leather products, was down for various and sundry reasons. You can read all about that as well. Not a surprise, but usually this time of year in North America, slaughter picks up as Americans tend to go outside in the warm weather, the spring weather, not as warm as Arizona, but spring weather through much of the country, and barbecue for Memorial Day weekend, and then the July 4th weekend after that. The barbecues are lit up, the charcoal is rolling, and people like to eat beef, fortunately. So kills got up this week to the high for the year, and it might be that way for another couple of weeks, but analysts expect lower kills coming into the summer months and even fall. Another thing we do every week on HideNet in America and in Europe too is we predict what the market's going to do the following week. Are we right 100% of the time? No, we're right about 85% of the time. Would you like to be right 85% of the time every time you guess what the market's going to do? Well, if you read HideNet, we tell you why we think the market's going to react and how we came to our conclusion. You can agree or not agree, but our information combined with what you know yourself can be very, very profitable and well worth the expense of a HideNet subscription. Latin America this week, fresh hides advanced, which is the first time in a long time. Not tremendously, but up a little bit. That was due to competition for tanners who are short raw material to tan to make their wet blue, and to catch up on orders that these tanners have made to deliver them on time to their customers. They are also testing to see if they can get the prices they've gotten. The asking price in Brazil has been between $2 and $2.10 a kilo, and now they're starting to wonder, with North America down, with Europe down, what are our TR1s really worth? Similar situation in Argentina, but the kilo is so low it's a little bit different. So that's what's going on in Brazil especially. Hard to find anybody who's a bull on the hide market, but they're not as bad as North America and Europe. This week in leather, speaking of international situations, HideNet will now be publishing every month a world report for Leather International. So you can read our long 15 years weekly column in Leather, monthly column in Leather International called The View from America. And now, from now on, you're going to have the World Report, the HideNet World Report, published in Leather International, which we're very proud to be a part of. This week in Leather, we talk about the Chinese pollution, how it's not just in northern China and not just to the tanneries, but it's impacting everything in China. And as far as we're concerned in this business, in the leather industry, it's going to be more costly for Chinese tanneries to operate vis-a-vis the pollution controls that they thought were perfect might now be inadequate and more expense and more upgrading, you might say, for these tanneries. There's also an article about the Yuyuan huge labor issue that shut down huge factories making footwear, athletic footwear, primarily for about every major brand in the world. That's about over. Almost everybody's back to work, and production is getting back to normal. Also, an interesting article on Chinese automotive sales, which are higher than last year. Last year, I think it was 21 or 22 million. It's going to be another couple of million this year, regardless of the pollution problems in the country. So they're buying more cars, and there's about a 40% leather penetration in all automotive vehicles produced in China, more consumption of leather. Also, we have an update on leather and split prices, which are very, very important if you're buying and selling leathers and splits. Can you afford to be without a HideNet? I don't know how anybody can afford to be without a HideNet, because information is key. Information is power, and as we say, knowledge equals profits. HideNet.com. Try us. You'll like us. Thanks for watching. See you again next week. Bye.